Hey, good morning. Welcome to Viking Preparedness. I am Pastor Joe Fox. You know, this is almost the worst weather one could have to survive in. And that is this. It could be raining a little bit harder, right? Right now it's just kind of dripping heavy, but it's about 35 degrees out. 35 degrees in rain is awful from a survival standpoint. You'd really rather it just drop to freezing and started snowing, because then at least you could stay dry. And that's what I want to talk about today a little bit, is survival clothing. You know, typically around here, I wear a Carhartt, right? This Carhartt jacket. It's getting old and beat up. And for me to do my chores today, that would be fine, really. If it gets wet, you know, I'll step inside by the wood stove and dry it out, or I can change into another coat. But, you know, there's no way that I'm going to be soaked to the bone out here working, because I'll just change clothes or get out of the weather or whatever. But what if you're bugging out? What if I was bugging out? You know, having to run through this all day long, not being able to come out from under it because you have to move and the weather is the weather. Well, in that case, you're going to want some kind of waterproof overgarment. And this right here is called Frog's Togs. And you can get it at China Mart and stuff like that. And it's basically a Tyvek material. And it's relatively inexpensive. You can get a whole rain suit, and they're great to throw in your vehicle. And they're mildly durable. But really, it is Tyvek. And so if you're running through that right there, you're going to rip it to shreds eventually. It's not made for heavy-duty wear. And so if you're thinking about end-of-the-world clothing, you might want to think about investing in some quality Gore-Tex type, you know, Dry Plus, something like that, clothing that has a rough, tough exterior. The military, you know, extreme cold weather system, is that what it is? ECWS, you know, the Gore-Tex that the military issues, that's pretty tough stuff. Something along those lines that you can go through brambles and so on and stay dry. Failing that, if you can't afford that and it's kind of expensive, a really good quality, you know, heavy-duty kind of like workwear PVC rain suit, and they make them in green, you know, not just yellow and orange. Those are okay. You just have to pay attention to venting it. You know, you have to open it up and let the air go out, because you don't want to get hot and sweaty in an environment like this, because when you stop, and you know, you'll be really cold if your undergarments are wet. Wow, that's interesting. That's pretty low. Another thing to consider is what we used to call the silk layer, the base layer of polypropylene. It looks kind of like silk, synthetic silk, long underwear. You can get it everywhere now. That's a really good base layer, and then having some kind of polypropylene on top of it that, again, wicks moisture away from your body. Because what you're trying to do in a survival situation, as opposed to, you know, I'm not surviving right now. I'm living and working out here. But if I was out here for real, you want to keep your core warm, right? And so think about those kinds of things that you put in your doomsday kit. You know, if I can only have one set of clothes, you know, I can't carry a dresser in my bob. I can only carry what I can carry. Think about what you're going to have for that. It might be worth spending a little bit of money on it. We have a bob camp out, the 11th annual National Winter Bob Exercise that's coming up next week, and I'm really hoping that this isn't the weather for it. I'm not quite sure what the weather's going to be here in the Ozarks then. I haven't checked it yet. But whatever it is, we're going to survive, we're going to do it, and we're going to learn. I encourage you to do the same. Give some thought to what kind of clothes you would wear if you only had one set of clothing. All right, I'll see you out there.